Okay. Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I'm running a tad bit late, but all in divine flow. Right. So I am Jamie Ray, and this is Explore the Body. Today, I'm just gonna go with what my body says. I have no plan, so we're just gonna go with it. I feel like some stuff's going on up in here, clearing a bit more of the throat chakra, coming into blasting this crown open. So that's probably where we'll go. Welcome to the Yoga for Love Online Healing Arts Center. And yeah, let's see what happens. Tools on hand, large ball, 2.5-ish, 3 to 4 inch diameter. This is 3.5, and this is 6 tennis balls in a tube sock. I do have a strap on hand. Don't know if I'll need it or not. So we will first start with this big ball, actually. We're going to do a little bit of glute freeing, releasing some more control. I'm going to go ahead and start with my left side, because that tends to be the side I hold the most, and because it's also facing me. So you're just placing a ball, going right on the inside of the sacrum, and in between the sacrum and the trochanter, just below the hip bone. I usually start right in that first divot, just below the just below the hip or the pelvis, and just inside the top, kind of a little right in the corner. Go in there, place same leg, ankle on opposite knee, and don't forget to breathe. Keep moving the breath through the body. Really breathe into the space that you're working on. If you aren't finding anything immediately, roll a little bit. Go slightly left, right, up or down. You'll find something. Pause. And release. And we're going to continue to work. The pattern that I usually do is I work down along the sacrum, down to the sits bone, and then I come up, back around the trochanter. There is no, go wherever you're guided. You do not have to stick to a plan. Go where it feels right, wherever you're called. If you're working here, it's like, oh, if I go a little bit further out, and then that just keeps flowing for you, do it. I often do that as well, but I usually just dive into it, have kind of a, got your usual drive to work, and then you got your detours, right? So we're just inching our way down, excuse me, clearing this throat chakra, getting it muck, getting it out. Blah. Just gonna roll down. Actually surprised, there's not too low today. Yay! Release some control. Coming down towards the sits bone. How are you feeling today? How's that solstice energy hit? The solstice, the eclipse, the new moon. Oh yeah. been quite an intense journey the last few days, or the last lifetime. All right, now I'm starting to make my way over to the trochanter, right along the edge, and we're never on the bone. We're just working right along the edge of it where the muscles attach. So if you're right on the bone, it's uncomfortable pain. When you're on a muscle that's got tension, it's like, it can be painful, but you feel the release, and it's a much different pain. So know the difference. Learn the body. Learn the difference between good pain and bad pain. Ha. A little more tension on the outside regions here from the foot. And if you need to move the leg, feel free to move the leg. Like, getting into that was not quite working for me with the leg up. I need to relax it a little bit more. So just dip a little bit to my side, allow the ball to sink in. It's a rainy day here in Plano, Texas. It's quite gray outside. It's actually kind of nice and soothing. But it definitely makes you want to just curl up in the duvet and sleep. I'm coming up, I'm getting right into the side seam, this tensor fascia latae, this deep into the side of the hip region, just below the hip bone and above the trochanter. There's this little divot right there. You tend to hold a lot of tension in that spot. Right there, right there. So the glutes actually there is a connection from the glutes to the throat chakra. So the glutes being about control, so right side being about controlling of the outer world, the people and their situations, the left side being controlling of the self. And when we hold back things that we need to say, or admit to ourselves, or say to someone else, we need to say no, or sometimes we need to say yes. Then these feelings of obligations often prevent the no to come out, or a feeling of obligation to be something. Sometimes it's a program that was put in us, that says that we're supposed to be this way, or act this way, or accomplish this by this time, and we set those rules upon ourselves. We tell ourselves stories, and then we feel really obligated to do those things, be that way, but they don't always align with the truth of who we are. So we can feel really obligated to it and then not admit our truth to ourselves. And so we get this blockage in the throat. And then it can often come up and manifest as T and J, jaw, and jaw tension. You know, all of this can get really stuck and tight. So when we release the glutes, we can actually feel a release in the jaw, which can allow us to spit out whatever it is we're needing to say or admit or, you know, wake up to. I'm going to switch sides. I'm just going to rotate for visual. Coming into this right glute, same thing, coming right into that triangle between the lower portion of the back pocket of the pelvis, right inside that corner of the sacrum. We get my balance here. All right. So on this side, again, we're saying this is other people, outer world. Are you trying to control what's going on in the world outside? That seeming chaos that's happening? Are you speaking your truth? What are you speaking into existence? Words are spells. We spell the words, right? Spelling. So words are very powerful. And when we're speaking our truth, hearing is it's important to be in integral form, like know what you're saying. Write down the language. It's a practice. But we are moving into this age of Aquarius. This is the age of knowing. This is the age of words manifest. When we have this power to create the world that we desire collectively, and if we're living in fear and control, we are not always speaking out that in which we want to truly create. We speak out the fears and we speak out the concerns. We speak out, and we point the fingers, and these people are doing that, those people are doing this, those people are doing that, blah, blah, blah. What do you really want to create? So speak out what you want, not what you don't want, not the ugly in which you're witnessing. You can call that out, but be careful of that, in what ways you are speaking it, the perspective that you're coming from, your angle, your approach. What frequency are you going to work with it on? And maintain this low vibrational frequency and speak out the distortions, or are you going to speak into existence the capabilities, the desire, the vision that you would like to see? It's important. We must all get on board. Rolling down to that piriformis. Coming over to the stroke. Finding a lot of tension over here today. Woohoo! I'm coming up along that trochanter, dipping down the side. Whichever side you find is holding the most tension can give you a clue as to where your focus might be, or where you're most triggered or activated, right? So if you find that you're having more tension on this right side, you might be a little caught up in what's going on in the world and how this is all playing out, and then your piece to it and or your fear around it. If you're finding it on the left side, you might find more that you're more focused on how you yourself are showing up, or more concerns about who am I, how am I showing up, how do I want to show up, where am I allowing myself to show up in my truest form, or where am I not, where's my resistance. So we've been in this space of all these groups. We've got groups and groups. There's a group for every single everything. You know, if you're not part of this group, then you're part of that group, and this creates division, right? Because then we have opposing groups. I'm on this team, or you're on that team. Then we're in opposition. And what we're moving towards is sovereignty. We're moving away from this group divisive think tank into true sovereign beings in full expression of selves, but with a one-mindedness. We have this ability to connect to one another through the heart, through the love, and then telepathically as well. And with that telepathic communication and that connection, when we tap into that, we do become this very one mind collective, but all in individual sovereignty, showing up as your truest self. What is your gift? What is your share? What is your offering? And when we work within each of us showing up with our offering, we have everything, it works in divine flow. But when we're divisive and in groups, it's just a constant tug of war, tension. We're moving away from that. That is no longer going to work. We cannot be divisive. We cannot be in division. All right. Control is released. Let's open up this heart for connection. Loving of the self, for loving of one another. When I say loving of one another, it's not just the human. In order to rise above this, we've got to truly come into a place where every life is sacred, where we can honor each life. We're coming just above the hips, into the low back, right into those QLs. We're just going to lie back over it. I've got a little bit of space between the two center balls to allow room for the spine, so we're not on the vertebrae. We're just, those two center balls are on the outside edges of the spine, we're going to work our way up through those erectors and everything in the back. So you're just coming in, sinking in. Allow yourself to surrender. The tissue, the muscles begin to release and become accepting of the ball pressure. And as that begins to let go, we can start to move a bit. So we can pull the knees up and in towards the chest. And this will control your pressure. The more you pull in, the more pressure we'll have. You can find that right pressure for yourself, for your body. And we can begin to rock side to side, starting slowly at first, certainly rolling to one side, getting into those side seams, and then back to the other. And as it begins to let go, you can speed up your movements. Get that breath, keep that breath moving. So yeah, it's not until we recognize that all life is sacred. Each and every one of them, the tiny mouse to the giant whales, each and every person of every size, shape, color, creed, every continent, every life, every plant, every flower, it's all sacred. When we can value that, when we can recognize that as a whole, that's where the injustices, we can't erase history, we can't erase what has happened, what has been done. We can't change the fact that history still creates pain. But we can change the future. We can change the now. We can learn from it. We can recognize where we were wrong. We can honor ourselves in the recognition and vow for a new way of doing things, a new way of living, a new way of being, a new way of being with this earth in connection with one another. And as I'm rocking back and forth, I'm just slightly inching my booty down on the mat. And so the balls are rolling up the spine, so I'm inching up, little by little. Right now, I'm just below the bottom ribs, upper portion of the QLs. The solar plexus region. Notice this teeter-totter. Right in here is where it begins this As I pull the knees in, the shoulders want to lift. So what I'm attempting to do is try to keep the shoulders back. As I pull the knees in. Sort of opening up that mid space. Lengthening those muscles. And right here, right in the center, this is where our humanness meets our spirit. Right at the navel. Right at this solar plexus region. So we're kind of right in this middle space. Good. Roll. Find a lot of tension right there. I like to take the hands behind the head, roll up. And then I'm just using my feet. Push and pull and roll and roll. Rolling out this knots of tension. Now we're coming up over the bottom edge of the ribs and we're kind of making our way more into this heart space. Kind of get a little less teeter-tottering. So really getting this tail nice and long, trying to get this low back down on the earth, and then trying to drop these shoulders back. Opening up this heart space. I just need to take a moment right here. And then we can begin. And rock inside the side. Inching my way up. And I'll do this until I get right at the base of the scapulars. Just kind of, you'll have to work with what your body needs as far as arms up or out to the side. Everybody is different. They're all each built slightly different. Some of us are broader structures, some smaller structures. So you've got to really work with what works in your body. Once I come up over the edge and I'm actually in or on the scapulas, I like to take the arms out to the side in my body. What that does, flattens the scapulas, brings them in and towards one another. So as I roll over, I'm getting the outer edges of the scapulas. Not getting so much right in between them. We'll come back to that, but we are getting outside reach of this. It's all in here on both sides. So when the scapulas are pulled in and towards one another, we just press into the heels, lift the buttocks, so we can roll up and down. And you can drop your weight slightly one side or the other. So if I drop slightly left, I'll have more pressure on this left scapula. And then I can just kind of shift my butt and my weight over to the right and give a little bit more on the right scapula, outer edges. And you can roll up right up to the tops of the shoulders, or just underneath the tops. Oh. Now I want to get in between the scapulas. So my favorite way to do this is to actually take the noodle ball, put it into a V, and place it right in between the scapulas, and the top balls are sitting right on top of the traps. And then I come, and you may have to kind of position yourself here, get them in there. You pull your elbows in towards one another. I'm pressing into my heels, lifting my buttocks so that all my weight is really coming down onto the balls. And with the elbows in and towards one another, it opens up the scapulas and allows those balls to sink into the rhomboids and the outer or the inside edges of the scapulas, right? So we can kind of, again, take our weight left to right. You kind of get one side of the spine, the edge of that scapula, move your shoulder around, find where you need to get, pausing on them good knots. And then drop it to the opposite side. And then as I get up a little bit higher, I can start to come up towards the tops of the shoulders here. The more I press into my heels, lifting the buttocks, the higher up on the body I'm going. So now the pressure is really focused on the top portion of the shoulders. And right here, I can take my arms up and overhead, and I could really get those traps, levator scapula, those attachments to the top corner of the scapula that let you lift, to raise your arms. So much tension right in here, the weight of the world that we carry around, those feelings of obligations, like I mentioned before. And discernment comes in. Discernment. We have to discern the difference between what's an obligation and what's a responsibility. And oftentimes we perceive obligations as responsibility, and we take on too much. We take on other people's responsibilities and make them our obligations. And then we are doing a disservice to self and to other by doing that, because we are taking away their power, we're taking away their ability to step into themselves. And again, moving those arms around, finding what works for your body. You can find, moving the elbows closer to one another, further apart, further overhead, or less. And you will find different little positions. You can move the head and neck around, find something. All right. Feels good. I'm just going to do a little once over roll through of the entire spine. And I just, again, place the hands behind the neck, roll up, pressing into the feet. pausing in place, ease just a little more tension. Just rolling there. Okay. I'm going to set that to the side. I feel like I needed a little neck stretch today, so I am going to use the strap. What do you know? So with this, you might have to work with this a little bit to get your strap the right length. Mine is already kind of set to where I need it. So what I do like to do though is get it where my pull is accessible to me for once I get here, not too close to the head and not too close to the feet. We're going to take the strap, you're going to place it just under this occipital ridge, right at the base of the skull. And you're going to lie back. You're going to pull the knees up and in towards the chest. Here's my strap, so I have room to pull it and tighten it if I need to. So, all right, we can pull the feet in. We're going to take the strap, place it over the front balls of the feet. You know, we're going to do a little positioning here. You're going to find that occipital ridge, and it should lay right on the outside edges, the tops of the ears. And then you're going to start to create a bit of tension with the feet here so you can get a nice pull. And then right here, this is where you'll determine if you can't, you know, if you need to loosen or tighten your strap. You're right here and you still got a lot of slack, you're going to need to tighten it up. I might actually have to loosen it just a tad so that I can extend all the way out. So once you get into position, it feels you've got something that's solid here. My knees are slightly bent. Now I'm going to drop the shoulders back. And I'm going to let my head be really heavy. I'm going to try, without force, I'm going to try to just let my neck drop down to the earth. And now I'm going to begin to press through the front balls of the feet. Hop. Hop. And you might have to work with this to find the comfortable position, you know, the nice, that way if it's hurting your ears, you know, reposition. So we've got a neck traction happening, and I'm trying to allow the lower portion of the cervical spine to just drop down towards the earth. Notice the tension there. Notice the resistance. Like, are you trying to hold your head, or can you allow it to just drop? The chin starts to sink further down towards the chest. Now, as it starts to release, you can begin to press into one foot, releasing the other just slightly. And we get a slight rotation. So if I press into my right foot and relax the left, or excuse me, if I press into the left foot and relax the right slightly, my head will roll to the right, and I get a little, nice little stretch right through this left side. And then I can come back to center by evening out my feet. And then I can press through the right, create some rotation to the left. And you might have to position your head a little bit, you know, slightly turn. And you can get a nice little stretch to that right side. All right, here I'm coming back to center. My knees are slightly bent, and I'm pressing into the front balls of the feet, and this is creating a more of a pull on the back of the neck, and it's really elongated. And I'm going to keep the shoulders back. You can feel that stretch all the way down the spine. And I'm doing a little bit of resistance, like slightly pressing my head back, but not a lot. Like it's not a, it's just a slight, very slight resistance as I press. The chin drops, the cervical spine lengthens, and I'm going to pull all through my upper back. Really expand that breath into that back space of the body. All the way down into that heart space. I can drop the head back again, reach and extend through those feet. Letting the head just really be heavy here. And when you're done, you can just bend the knees, drop the head, release the strap, and just take a moment. Don't move the head, just let it rest. Let it rest. As it starts to come back, just gentle movements, rocking side to side. Okay, let's throw that over to the side. And I feel like I need to do a little bit of shoulder opening today to help with this neck, this throat. Always clearing. Heart, neck, throat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my left arm, and my palm is facing out, so the back of my hand is up against my back. So we're going to walk that up as high as you can. If you're down here, that's fine. You're going to try to get this up. And then we're going to come, and the way I like to move into this is I drop slightly to the right if I'm taking the left arm back. And then I'm lying down slightly to the right of the body. And then with my hand behind me, I start to get the hand is now onto the earth. And I start to roll myself over. And so you can control how quickly you move into this because you want to ease into it, right? You don't want to rip anything. Then you can begin to position yourself and find the comfortable spot. And if it's too much, you might need to take your arm just slightly down. You may need to move it just slightly down the back. And then you're coming to lie flat. And as it eases, you might find that your weight is evenly distributed. You might still be slightly right, leading away. You might not be able to put all the pressure on. And then what you want to do is just take your right hand and you're just gently suggesting just gentle pressure or movement along this pec muscle and the shoulder to get it to start to come down to the earth. My bracelet is digging in. And as that starts to drop into the earth, you might find that you can actually roll a little bit more weight over to that side, that left side. I'm trying to get my scapula to come down onto the earth. So if I lift up just slightly, I can kind of position that scapula, pull, and get it onto the earth a little bit. Now notice how the ribs are popping up a little bit here, and I'm getting a good gap. You can see my hand through here. Right? There's a little bit of like avoidance. I'm like, which is okay, but we're going to try to even that out. So I'm going to elongate the tail. As this is letting go, I can then begin to drop these ribs down, get the tail long, and try to get more of my spine onto the earth. And this is steadily dropping down, and I'm just giving it gentle suggestions. You might find a little bit of tension right on the inside of that where the pec muscle comes and attaches to the shoulder joint. And if you've got a bit of, pain, or don't go into severe pain. By the way, don't break yourself. I'm not trying to rip anything. But if you have a little bit of tension, a little bit of pull, you're like, oh, right there, it's really tight. You utilize your hand, your fingertips, apply a little bit of pressure. You find that knot, and like, oh, right there. And breathe into it and allow it to release a little bit further. So I could kind of pry with my thumb. And then my shoulder is able to drop just a little bit further. And you may have a little bit of movement where you can move the shoulder yourself physically, like on its own. You're rotating the scapula down, and we're going to try to press this down towards the earth. If it's just way too tight and you can't do it, just be where you are. I'm not trying to overdo it. I've been doing this practice for, I don't even know how long, a really long time, over a decade. So, and it comes and goes. It fluctuates. I have times that it is much easier and times that it is not. It really depends on where life is. All right, and as that begins to ease up and the body starts to say it's done, how we're going to get out of it is we're going to roll to the other side, but we're not going to activate the shoulder. We're just going to gently roll. We're going to let it just hang behind us as we roll. We're just rolling to the side. And just let it be. Let it be. And you can begin to let the hand drop down the spine. Just very, very little activation here. We're not doing major movement. And as you can get it where you're getting it long, you can kind of pull it over to the side. I'm just moving really my lower arm, not so much the shoulder. And then I'm just going to lie back and let it rest. You want to move your fingers, lower portion of the arm, really letting this just integrate. Now we can start to kind of add a little movement, maybe rotate. Now we're working it up the arm a bit. Rotating this elbow leverage, right? And we just start to slowly introduce the movement. But notice, like, okay, now we've got a little bit more freedom a little bit more movement or greater awareness of where the tension is. Okay, we're gonna do the other side. I'm gonna roll over and switch sides here. All right, I'm gonna take the right hand, walk it up back. You can support it using the other hand if you need to. Kind of press the arm in, whatever works. Keep it up there as much as you can. And then again, I elbow to my left, to the right side. And then I'm going to start to roll back to where my palm is onto the earth. And then I can begin to position it. And I can tuck the scapula slightly down and under to roll back. Ha. Ha. And just give it time. You need to reposition or adjust the height a little bit, find what works. And we just continue to allow it to drop. You can move that head and neck and notice the connection. And we're trying to get this scapula come down to the earth. Again, you can adjust your weight and your pressure with the knees, shifting left or right. You can also adjust it slightly by lifting the buttocks. So if I lift up, I can get a bit more of the scapula onto the earth, and then I can slowly lower. Trying to get my ribs down and get my tail long. Oh. Yes, this is a bit like torture, but it is so good. It is so good. It really opens up this whole shoulder socket. So rotator cuff issues, tennis elbow, even carpal tunnel. This can assist with that because it starts to free up this shoulder joint, which has an effect on everything down below in the arm. And keep that breath moving as that continues to release. It continues to drop, and you can utilize the other hand to suggest the movement, the dropping. You can find those little knots of that pec attachment or deltoid even. And just do gentle massaging. Help it release. Drop my head just slightly. Oh. All right, and as that begins to end, we're just gonna, again, activating this, we're gonna just let it be, and we're gonna roll over to the other side. And just let it hang, let it hang. Oh. And we can begin to slowly move the lower portion of the arm. We're not activating the shoulder, just walking those the back of the hand, fingertips, down the body, down the spine. We can move it out of the way and move over. And just let the arm rest. Let the shoulder drop. Let it be at ease. Let it integrate. Moving it too quickly, you know, the muscles are like, what is happening, right? We're releasing. If you go move it too fast, that's where you can, you know, you can cause some injury because the muscle isn't ready. And again, start integrating the lower portion of the arms. Take a little rotation. Forearm, rotating that elbow. Oh, starts to, as it starts to ease up, then you can add your free movement in. All right, I feel like let's come to all fours and do a little bit of free movement. Just come in and feel the body out. Oh, just, oh. I'm just rounding up into the cat, pulling back into child's. Oh. Oh. This is just whatever feels good to you, wherever your body says go. I'm just going. Stretching out this calf muscle, pressing into my heel. Switch sides. Some hip rotations. Just let the head and neck be loose. Nice big circles with the hips. I'm going counterclockwise and then we'll go clockwise. And this, we're not only are we circling these hips, but we're circling these shoulder sockets, right? Because we're coming up and around. It's clockwise now. Big circles. I'm really reaching through the hands here as I pull back. So I'm really lengthening those shoulders, those arms, the upper back. And then I'm rounding up, rounding up. Really reach to the chin. Little rotation to the head. Reaching left, reaching right. I'm pulling my jaw up and out. Some opening at the front of the throat. All right. Let's do a little warm up. Down dog. Just, we're kind of coming to the end. I haven't done a ton of movement, but I'm feeling better. I hope you are too. Coming to center, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Really spread those fingers wide because we've been working on this neck shoulder thing. So we're spreading these fingers wide. Really get your thumb going straight out. So I've got my thumb really spread open. So my thumbs are pointing at one another. Now I'm rotating the fronts, the eyes and my elbows forward. So this is going to continue this shoulder bit. Really rotating those forward. We're pulling up the ribs. We're dropping this head and neck. Toes are turned under. We're going to try to keep this position in the arms as we come into our down dog. And then if it doesn't stay, notice how much it rotates when you come up, right? And just come into an awareness of it. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, pressing into the toes, lifting knees. We're trying to keep those elbows up. We can keep those knees bent. And try to keep those elbows going up. And then we're bringing those ribs down, back towards the knees. All right, now we're dropping those heels. And you can do some bicycling here, just opening up the backs of the legs. We haven't really engaged those yet, so we're just, as those begin to open up, we're dropping this heart space down towards the earth, and the ribs are going to go in towards the thighs. Head and neck are loose. And we can pull up a little bit if those eyes of the elbows are rotating. It's okay for them to rotate a bit. We're just checking in with them. I'm trying to push them, you know? Trying to get them to stay. Get that stretch. All right, let me come back to center. I'm going to repeat that one. Get my, good. One more time on that. Be back to center. Shake that a little bit. Really getting those fingers spread wide, thumbs facing one another, elbows facing forward. I'm going to play with it a little bit more. Hands on your shoulders, knees on your hips. Drop that head and neck. Pull those ribs up, rounding up into a cat. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, pressing in the toes, lifting those knees. We're going to keep those knees bent as we press into those palms, keeping those eyes of the elbows facing up. We're bringing the ribs down towards the knees, down towards the thighs. There was a point in which the eyes of my elbows shifted. So I'm going to come forward just slightly and then rotate back again. Trying to keep those, I can shift my weight of my hips just slightly right. And I'm pressing through that left palm. I'm getting a nice stretch through the deltoid, opening up the shoulder a little bit more. And then I can shift it to the left, really pressing into the right palm. All right, bringing those ribs towards those thighs, and then I'm going to keep that going, keeping those, pressing into the palms, the heart space dropping down towards the earth, the ribs, the belly coming towards the thighs, and then I'm dropping my heels, lifting my toes, taking those hips back, really elongating the spine. All right. Coming back. Yes. Yes. That felt really good. I feel like, what do I want to do now? Just come to sit. I want a little bit of a twist, bringing out the spine. So I'm gonna get my sits bones down. I'm gonna start with the left leg, crossing over the right. And I'm gonna take my, really ground through those sits bones, elongating the spine. I'm gonna take my right elbow and place it to the back of my left knee. Hold on, switch this real quick. There we go. Welcome. So I'm taking this again, grounding through those sits bones, my right elbow to the back of the left knee. I'm going to begin to rotate. The spine is nice and long. I'm taking my left rib back. Taking that rib back. Rotating from the navel up. We're not rotating the sacrum and the low back. The navel up is the twist. So I'm rotating this rib cage, applying some pressure with my elbow on the back of the knee. Then my left hand is coming around, and it can also press into the earth and help with the rotation as I look over this left shoulder. Oh. Oh. Oh, nice deep full breaths, really expanding that rib cage with the breath in the rotation. Bringing out that spine all the way up through the cervicals. And as that begins to end, we're just going to gently unwind. And I'm going to take my right hand and grab the outside edge of my left foot. And reaching my left arm out. I'm going to reach and press through the heel. Pull those toes back, and we're going to look towards that left hand, those left fingertips. Again, lift those ribs. We're rotating from the ribs up. I can press my foot away with my right hand and pressing this foot away. So kind of reaching this left arm back, pressing this foot. Keep that extension through the heel. Keep those ribs lifted, ribs lifted. And when you're ready to release, we're just going to untwist and drop the foot. All right. We're going to switch sides here. Through the sits bones. Sits bones are down. I'm going to line this up. All right, bringing the left elbow to the right knee. Pressing into this elbow away from the knee. We're rotating the ribs over. We'll reach and extend through that right hand. Continue the extension, or you can place the hand onto the earth for further pressing of the twist. Expanding those ribs with the breath. Releasing, coming back to center. I'm going to do one more here. Grabbing the outside edge of the right foot with the left hand. Getting those sits bones onto the earth. We're going to reach and extend through that heel. Rotating the ribs. Reach and extend that right arm out, and we're looking towards the fingertips. Hop. Pressing into that heel. We're taking this arm back as far as we can, and we're pulling the leg simultaneously. Sort When you're ready, back to center. That feels really nice. All right, I'm just going to do a little forward lean. So I've brought my feet together. I've dropped the knees out. I'm bringing the belly towards the feet. I've got a nice long spine. Releasing the fear right through the groin here. And a nice stretch in the groin. Okay. All right, I think let's find a place of stillness. Kind of kept it mellow today. I feel mellow today. So we're going to come into Shavasana. So find a place on the earth, whatever place is, wherever you feel comfortable. And just lay back. Get the lengthening of the spine. So if you're coming into Shavasana onto the ground, get this tail nice and long. If you want, you can take the legs up the wall. You can put a bolster under the knee. Whatever feels good to you today. Get those scapulas in and down onto the earth. And reach those arms out. And then surrender. Feel the openness of this heart space, the freedom of these shoulders, the freedom of the neck. Got this cervical spine nice and long, chin slightly tucked. Fully supported by the earth. I'm going to allow you to continue to move into that. And I'm going to play a little bit of moon sounds as you drift off. And you can stay as long as we'd like. Thanks for joining me, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Continue to remain in Shavasana if you would like, and namaste.